Hey guys, today I want to show you guys how I produce in the style of Nightly or Valley or Joan or any of these like sort of newer indie pop tracks that are not exactly the same as like 1975 style stuff. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to show you a song that I produced for Brent Keanu called I Don't Mind. I'll show you what it sounds like now.
And I don't mind, falling 100 feet into your ocean. I don't mind, swimming through every wave of your emotion. Yeah, so I've been waiting so long for something stronger to hold on to. I want you, baby, I want you. Falling 100 feet into your ocean, yeah.
So you can see there's a ton of layers going on right now, and this is probably also one of the bigger sessions that I've done. As you can see from this ad lib we're not using, there's 136 tracks, and I feel like this is also a great example of like breaking down for people who are producing in this style, like how do you even get to like 130 tracks? Like what does that even look like? And so yeah, we'll just start going through the layers. So the first one we have are the guitars, which all of them together sound like this. So as you can see, there's a lot of guitar tracks, but most of them are just like doubled, like the same part sort of going back and forth. So like we have these guys here. And that's just a doubled electric. But then we have probably the most fun part of the song, which are these, I mean, it looks like 6 tracks. In my mind, it's 3 because we have one part here at the top. Then we have another layer down here. Then we have this layer down here. And you can hear it's not strictly like doubled. Like it's not like the exact same part between the left and the right ear, which is honestly probably the best use for double tracking in a song like this where you have a bunch of layers, is don't have things be exactly the same left to right. Like if I just solo these 6 tracks. Like you can hear stuff sort of like dancing around your head. Like it's not exactly just like one part that's doubled and exactly the same straight down the middle with a little bit of width. In case you were wondering, I was just using the Andy in a Bottle preset for these guys. They are going into some gated reverb with a lot of the rest of the mix, just because getting that sound is like, if I turn off the gated reverb, like it sounds good on its own, but when you throw it in the context of the band, it sort of blends in a little bit more. And then also they're going through a ping pong stereo delay set to a dotted eighth, which again sort of adds like a little bit of rhythm happening left to right. And then we have these guys down here every once in a while, which is a slightly different patch. It's the Prince in the Rain. And that's pretty much all the guitars except for these guys that happen in sort of like the B section of the chorus, which is this Corey Wong Neural DSP preset I found called DI Shimmer. It just kind of sounded really good with like that stratty tone. And then there's a part above it. And you can see there's actually a bit of automation here. And that automation is turning on this overdrive pedal, this big rig overdrive, which I used because there were some sections of the song where we wanted it clean here at the beginning. So. And then other parts of the song where we wanted it dirtier. So instead of having a new instance, I just automated the overdrive plugin on. Then we get to the synths, which again, there's just so many layers, but they're all really good layers. This is our main keys sound. So again, I just sort of blended in multiple synths together. So it's the Dire DX from Anna 2. Sounds like this. We then have the faded sound. And then we have the faded sound again, but an octave lower. And so really we have the Dire DX as like the main sound, but we have these faded patches underneath it to sort of beef it up a little bit. So if I solo just the main keys and I turn off the fadeds, turn them back on, like it just sort of fills it out. We also have this ARP, which is like a fun little chirpy bird thing. Yeah, that's the Bell Dream. Oh, and then we have this fun layer here. This is what gives me the fun like 80s jungle vibes, which is just a kalimba in Contact spread across 2 separate layers. We have a little bit of an arcade layer going, which is the weightless preset in Particles, if you're curious. And then we have these guys, this IDM Starlight sound, which is actually from the original demo that Brent produced himself. It's just the perfect like Daft Punk, like funky 80s synth sound. And then we have these other keys sounds on top of this. Then we have a Juno, Tal Uno LX. Whenever I need to make like ARPs on my own, I'll just use the arpeggiator device in Ableton and just hold a chord with MIDI and yeah, just run into it that way. A little bit of reverb, a little bit of auto pan with a lot of these layers. If you haven't noticed already, I'm band passing a lot of them just because there's so many. In order to have the mix not completely fall apart, I just kind of need to like be like, okay, this part gets this frequency and only that. And then we have this lead line going down, which are great transitions into like the downbeat of the song. And then there's another arcade layer. This acoustic textures pad is like this first key down here. I'm always using this one. I'll either do it like this or I'll go in here and make it an octave higher. But yeah, I'm always using that pad. But that is all these synths. One thing that I also had to do to really get the mix to kind of like not fold in on itself is I had to do a lot of EQ.
Don't mind, falling 100 feet into the ocean.
So what that means is you throw the EQ on the thing that you want to change. You set the side chain input to be whatever source you think it's conflicting with. And then you go in here and you turn on this mode and set it to side chain. And what you will see, like you'll see those shades of red at certain frequencies. Those are frequencies where the sound source that you have the EQ on and the sidechain input source, they're kind of masking each other. So what you can do is I turned a lot of dynamic bands on around those areas, brought them down a bit, and normally it will just kind of look like this. But if you hit auto and hit this guy, instead of being triggered by the source, it will be triggered by the sidechain.
Don't mind, falling 100 feet into the ocean.
So you can see it's only being triggered in certain sections where the vocal and the synths are sort of interfering with each other. So the main bass of the track is actually this guy, which is the Contact Scarby Music Man that they have, which sounds like this. So without the EQ, it's kind of a nasty bass sound, but threw it into some CLA bass to try to shape it as much as I could. Some general EQ with Brainworks, and then a little bit of MoTT. So specifically in the verses, Brent felt like just that bass wasn't enough. And so what I did was, in the demo stage, I actually played this bass line live. And we ended up not really using it because it didn't feel right. I think I tracked it with a 4-string, but we wanted it to reach a little bit lower. So we started using this guy. But what we found is, if we take our live bass running through Corey Wong Neural DSP on the wide preset, this is playing an octave up. So it actually does blend a bit with this guy. So it just kind of pops out a little bit more. And then some track spacer and compression. I did that same EQ masking thing that I did before on the guitars and synths with the vocals, but I did it with the kick and the bass.
There's just something.
And then our drums. So here's what the whole drum kit sounds like. Like it has such a fun vibe to it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. We did a lot of experimenting to see what kind of drum sound Brent liked. I think we mainly used a Valley song as a reference, or it was a Joan song. I honestly don't remember at this point. We kept throwing songs back and forth with each other, and yeah, eventually we just found something that we both liked. So this snare is from the Taylor Larson pack before it was Mixwave. It was like the Taylor Ernie drums or something like that, but it's called Main Snare. I'm sorry to tell you, I don't know how you get it anymore. But yeah, that was our main snare sound, and then our kick is the same kick from that pack with a little bit of transient designer and some spiff, just to tame that low end a little bit. And then I used Get Good Drums Modern Fusion Kit, just the toms, basically. I also used it for my cymbals. All my hats and stuff like that are coming from this guy. I think we did this song before they did the Get Good Drums update where you could like stem out everything. So I think there's just multiple instances of the kit on this track, and I've just like put them onto different tracks, and I just play whatever part I want on that. But then we have some shaker going. Near the end, we have some like hand drum stuff. And then there was a lot of effects for certain sections. So we had this like rototom thing that was going in certain sections, like in here. Just a subtle like left right thing. Then we have some risers. If you're going to use stuff like this where it's like a vocal thing, make sure you're using one that's in the key of the song that you're in, because I think I made that mistake on accident the first time I threw it in, and it did not sound good. But then we also have some clap impact stuff. So in the context of the song, it sounds like this. And then probably the part that took the most effort, mainly on Brett's end, are all of these vocal layers. So we have a main vocal here.
And I don't mind.
We have some doubles.
And I don't mind.
We have some call and response harmonies.
Falling 100 feet into your ocean.
We have him just sort of saying, I don't mind, in a gang vocal way.
I don't mind.
We have these ahs that he does for the end section. Just so good. I'm very jealous of Brent as a singer. I'm gonna be honest. And then we just have some ad-lib stuff that we threw in near the end.
I want you.
So in total, there's 54 vocal tracks, and that might sound excessive. On some level, it probably is. But when you listen to the fruits of our labor of actually like tracking a bunch of stuff, Brent like really showed up and sent me like an insane amount of like usable takes. So I just used all of them basically.
I don't mind. Swimming through every wave of your emotion. Yeah. So I've been waiting here so long for something stronger to hold on to. I want you, yeah, baby, I want you. I don't mind falling 100 feet into your ocean. Yeah.
So good. So yeah, if you ever want to do indie pop right, just spend an insane amount of time stacking vocals. But yeah, here is the finished track. You guys have been hearing just the mix with a limiter on it this whole time, but I'll layer in the final master that we did.
And I don't mind, falling 100 feet into your ocean. I don't mind, swimming through every wave of your emotion. Yeah, so I've been waiting so long for something stronger to hold on to. I want you, baby, I want you.
But yeah, that's what the track sounds like. Again, if you liked it, go check it out. It's on Spotify right now. Thank you to Brent for letting me produce this for him. And yeah, I will see you guys next week.